Oh, I'm just gonna.
Thank you.
Okay. Our current, I can tell you, at the end of March, the Dorothy Woodcock, our two investments, Dorothy Woodcock had 160,000, and the Willard Schultz account had 25,856. And we just received another 3,000 for that account, which is finally, his estate is finally being wrapped up. And I can say that otherwise we're humming along, everything's going fine. Simon Fizet strings was broken into low strings and high strings, which caused some complications, but we got through all that, and we've gotten the words sent out. Otherwise,
Is the budget next month?
Oh, yes, the budget, we're working on the budget. We've gone through the process of getting it set. We've presented it to the board has agreed to the budget, and next month then I'll present the budget to in the May meeting, and you will vote on that. Otherwise, I don't think I've got anything else.
Any questions?
Yeah, any questions?
I was at the meeting and I could say that Ann is doing a fabulous
Yes.
job.
Anne, can you say the numbers again for me really quick? I'm trying
What
to take
was that?
Oh, can you say the numbers again for me? I'm taking notes.
Of the account numbers?
Just
Dorothy Woodcock had 160,687 and 66.
oh, okay, that's okay. I'm just getting the gist.
And then the Willard Schultz account has 25,856 and 18 cents, and that is an account that we use to support the Simon Fizet competition. Yeah.
Thank you, Ann. Do we have to approve that, or?
No. All right.
Okay, so now we're going to open up the general meeting to any announcements. Since I'm up here, I'm going to make the first announcement. Our music artistry program, our wonderful, wonderful program, has 3 co-chairs this year: Michelle Huang, myself, and Colleen Kennedy. Both Michelle and I are going to step down because we're very busy, and we are currently searching for a second co-chair to help Colleen. I am very happy to stick around and answer questions. Also, Jason knows everything about MAP, so you can ask him. But please, if you love this program, and it's one of my favorite programs we do, please consider being a co-chair to help Colleen this coming year. Okay, anybody else?
Okay, Grace.
So, good morning. I just want to make an announcement about Walk to the Future. I met with Michelle Simonson of King FM about 3 weeks ago. She had reached out to me because she's heard about Walk to the Future, which is where we play at the light rail. And we used to do it in March, and we changed the date to July because the weather is much better, and we put it on Bach's passing date instead of his birth date. And then opened it up, Walk to the Future. So like the father of classical music, he's born in the middle of time, and classical music has extended out from that. So we do this at Sound Transit at the light rail stations of Beacon Hill Light Rail Station and Roosevelt Light Rail Station. And we've been doing this since 2015. And now SNTA is the official host for this event and the rename of Walk to the Future. So I met with Michelle, and she and King FM are very interested in promoting this event. They have recently taken on an addition to their mission statement that they really want to support classical music being more prevalent in mainstream community events. And 2 things that they have done and are doing is, one is they are attending the Seattle Art Fair this year and having a booth there, so that they make themselves prevalent in the visual art world. And they have also gotten involved with the Kraken. So they are promoting classical music through hockey. So they're really into making classical music be mainstream and part of the natural world of human civilization. So they are very interested in next year having some of our performers live on Northwest Focus Live, and the calendar this year was too much of a push to get that arranged, but that is something they're interested in next year. She also offered me grant opportunities, which I'm not, right now I don't have the time to fill out grants, but the grants are actually pretty easy and pretty in alignment with our organization. So if we have anyone in the organization who does grants, please contact me and I will pass on the link that Michelle gave me. It's pretty easy money and it's very community organization based, so it seems like it's kind of an easy fit. And it's a monthly rotation, so if we miss this deadline this month, we can try it again the next month. It's through For Culture. So anyways, they're looking at us to support us long term. We already get some airtime the week before this event from them, and we are now promoting them and their app in our newsletter and our website. So just wanted to let you know that this is kind of moving into a new, bigger direction. So I'd like to encourage you to have your students participate that much more this year. We're going to try to get videographers out to film people this year, both on the transit as well as performing at the light rail station, kind of congruous with, by the way, hop off the light rail and play some music. So just kind of keep that in the back burner of your mind. The date this year is July 26th, which is a Saturday. It'll be from 10 to 5. The pianos are provided by Classic Pianos, and you just can have your students, any instruments, any levels, play yourself, it'd be great. You can sight read. I mean, just come out and, share some classical music with the world at large. And any questions, just send me an email. Thanks.
Is there a deadline to register?
Yeah, we haven't even opened up registration yet, so, and Leanne, did we get that down to small increments where people could register?
Yeah, we have programs that we can use for that, but we haven't started that since it's so early.
Okay, so, and the feedback once people register will be inclusive of their time, or?
I have to set it all up, but I haven't.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
like so early, I haven't done that yet. I've been
Okay, so
focusing
it's
on
in
it.
process,
Yeah.
but it'll be through the website, and Leanne is so awesome at that, so should be super easy to register, and you just show up and play your stuff. It'd be awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anybody else? Ro. Ro, why don't you just come up here? We'd love to hear from you.
I will. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm just going to announce about the basket this year for the WSMTA conference auction. The theme this year is Meowsical Moments. So there's a poster on the back table and a basket there. So please feel free to put in any cash donations you would like to contribute. If you want to write a check, make it payable to SMTA, and we will do the shopping. And the proceeds from this auction go to support WSMTA student development programs. And the conference is June 28th through 30th at Lower Columbia Basin College in Longview, Washington. So hope to see everyone there, and please feel free to contribute either cash, or if you want to bring to next month's meeting a cat-themed item, please feel free to do that as well. Thank you.
And if I could figure out where my mom got these cat pants, then I could donate a new pair. We have more performance opportunities coming up for your adult students. We're doing the last of the season adult soiree at a place called The Point in a mall in Redmond. And that's going to be Saturday, May 17th at 6:30. And this place can seat about 50 people, so tell your adult students that they're welcome to invite their family and friends as well. And because it's in a little strip mall, there's ample free parking. Either the teacher or the students can directly contact me. I prefer that you use my Gmail address so I don't have to go digging around in the spam for Hotmail. Or you can text me. And a little bit more about Bach. Bach and the Subways continued this year on his birthday, March 21 through 31, and we did it indoors at Crossroads Mall for 2 days, 8.5 hours, and Jason's studio and Katie's studio and mine performed, as did 35 other musicians. And then in different locations in Greater Seattle that week, we had 22 other performers plus an entire vocal choir. So once again, Seattle broke all the world's records for having the most performances of Bach. And Crossroads wants us back again next year, and I'm also looking for someplace a little closer to this part of Seattle. But thank you all for participating, and Bach willing, we'll do it again.
Thank you, Karen, and thank you, Will. I'm just going to say I highly encourage everybody to come to the state conference this year. I've never been, but I will be there this year, so I'm looking very forward to it. And I would love to see you guys there. Jensina, you want to come up and say something?
Hi, everybody. Glad to see all of you, and I just want to say one more time, this feels like coming back to my roots, because when I first moved to Seattle, I was part of Seattle chapter for several years. Then I moved to Edmonds chapter because it was a mile from me, and Seattle was still meeting at Sherman Clay, and now you are closer to me than where Edmonds meets. But I'm, just like Jeffrey, I'm a member of both and enjoy both groups. I have a new endeavor at Shoreline Community College, so for teachers on the north end, I'm doing a couple of summer camps, and actually, and Katie's a member of both too. Hi, Katie. When I was growing up, I liked visual art just as much as piano, and I have this camp that I'm doing for 8 to 11-year-olds, where it's just as much Orff music as keyboard lab piano, as artwork, a little bit of poetry. So I call it a music and arts camp, and it's the week of July 21st. It's 9 to noon, July 21st at Shoreline Community College Music Department. And then that same week, July 21st, from 1 to 4 p.m., I'm doing elementary piano intensive, which just means a little bit more musicianship, more piano team stuff, quartets, duets. They'll do a solo, they'll do a little bit of artwork, some composer spotlights, and a little bit of improv. And each of those camps, the final hour on Friday, we do a open house recital, and you wouldn't believe the amount of work we get done in 15 hours. The final recital is really a lot of fun, and this will be my second year doing it, and I think it's going to be great. So I think Josie is helping me out here. Yeah.
Like what level for either one of those camps?
Great question. I forgot to mention that. The morning one is a little bit more for like, I can even accommodate beginners because I have an assistant. I can accommodate very elementary, like maybe even beginner, all the way through about like, think maybe like second or third year even. So late elementary, even early intermediate if, because I can cater the duets and each kid works on a solo. Everybody's working on art that they like, everybody's working on musicianship. With the Orff instruments, I gave the more advanced students, like Katie's student last year has a more complex pattern on xylophone. Beginners are doing beat one frog noises on the little wooden frogs from Indonesia. So the morning one is sort of beginner through late elementary, early intermediate. The afternoon one, they really should have like a solid year of piano under their belt to keep their interest. So afternoon is mid to late elementary through late intermediate, really any level in the afternoon. I can accommodate any level, and the morning is a little bit more for less experience.
Great.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
Where should I direct the parents to go find out more?
I'm gonna send you to everybody. It's Shoreline Community College Continuing Education. Shoreline Community College Continuing Education. They have their own website. Like any community college, the continuing ed arm is the non-credit arm. So like all of the community offerings, so this falls under that umbrella. And when you go to Shoreline Community College Continuing Ed, there's a huge banner and button for summer camps. So it's under their summer camp listing. Yeah, and it's $2.99 in the morning, $2.99 in the afternoon. There can be discount codes potentially if that's something that is necessary. So.
Thank you.
Jessica.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jessica, and I'm here to announce our social events for the rest of this month and a little bit in May. So tomorrow, we have the Pacific Northwest Ballet production of Romeo and Juliet coming up at 7:30 p.m. We get a 50% off discount, so if you would like to join us, please let me know as soon as possible. I will be purchasing our tickets today. Up next on Saturday, May 3rd, we have Third Coast Percussion with composer Jesse Montgomery. So what makes this unique is we have a relationship with Meany Hall, which gives our members 50% off, as well as 2 free student tickets, youth student tickets. And usually they offer a VIP reception as well. So Sophia and I will be taking RSVPs for that very soon. So I hope you can join us. Oh, this one is Saturday, May 3rd at 7:30 p.m. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
But also, next Friday, the 25th, is the Tempo Conference, and Jessica and Sophia will be on the screen.
And Kate.
Yes, and Kate as well. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I meant to say it a million times, but SMTA has a wonderful social committee, and we're all friends, and it's so wonderful to have Jessica and Sophia organizing everything for us, so thank you guys again. Okay, anybody else have an announcement that they would like to make? Ryan?
Yes, please. Hello, everybody. So, in addition to other opportunities and whatnot that is shortly on the way, there's an online recital that is next Sunday, not this Sunday, but a week from it. And students can sign up pretty much until Friday, so a week from today, not today. And they're all welcome. They're encouraged to come. It's fun. And if they're preparing for anything else, you know, it's a great little opportunity to get a little extra performance work in the meantime. If you have students that sometimes you have to see online and you just dread those moments because their sound is always awful and you just have to suffer through it, send them in, I'll fix it. Yeah, in any case, thank you so much, and hopefully I'll see some of your students and perhaps even their faces there.
Thanks, Ryan.
Do we have anybody else that would like to say anything?
I feel like I have to introduce my childhood friend as a child, and later my high school sweetheart, and then my husband. He's a musician, he's not a teacher. But when I have trouble with my student, he will take over.
That's awesome. Welcome. Thank you for coming. Okay, anybody else? Katie, would you like to come up and set up?
Yeah, I'd like to move chairs if that's okay.
All right, everybody stand up and move your chairs to the side of the room.
Good to see you too.
you, everybody. Our very own Katie O'Rourke is a piano instructor, Feldenkrais practitioner, and Oxygen Advantage functional breathing instructor, offering private lessons and movement coaching in the Seattle area and online. Katie runs the Awareness Through Music blog, which provides resources on injury prevention, musician wellness, and mindful pedagogy. As a pianist, Katie has collaborated with Whatcom Symphony, Skagit Orchestra, and Whatcom Wind Ensemble and Bellingham Chamber Orchestra. And she's also a performing member of Ladies Music Club of Seattle. So welcome, Katie.
Thank you. They can hear you? Yeah. Or do you want me to set up the mic stand?
Well, I think I will go on the mic stand because I'm going to be talking from the piano, but I think I'm also going to want to hold it.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Where would you like it right now?
I'll take it right now.
Okay.
I'll take it. And I have things to pass out.
Oh, I can pass those out.
Okay.
What, is it, how many pages? Okay. You want it for this side of the room?
So when you receive your, okay. When you receive your handout, please only look at the top page. And there's a quiz. And you may go ahead and start taking that quiz. And let's see. I have pens and pencils that I can pass around if anyone needs. Do you guys need pens and pencils? Yes? Yes. Here, I'll start here. They're in the pencil pouch.
Okay, Sandra, I'm going to take a picture and send it to you in the chat. Hold on one second.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Some of you know I like to give presentations that are kind of interactive and experiential, which is why we're just starting out with a quiz. After that, we're going to do a movement activity, and then in the end, we're going to talk a little bit more about this topic of brain lateralization, which is right versus left brain function. So I'm going to give you just a few more minutes, and then we'll go through the quiz. Do the quiz, yeah, take the quiz. Yeah, take the quiz. And if you want to, if you'd rather not and just wait, you can do that too.
Okay, hopefully that will come through for you. Let me know if you have any issues.
I'll also add here that the field of neuroscience moves very quickly. So things that we thought were true, 5 or 10 years ago, it's just constantly changing. So some things that you've heard about right and left brain function might not actually be the same anymore. And actually, when I go through them, you can just shout out what you think the answer is. So, okay. Yes?
30 more seconds.
30 more seconds. Thanks, Jesse. All right, I think we can do it now. So, first one, men are left hemisphere dominant and women are right hemisphere dominant. False. Great. We just, it's funny. This is something that I keep hearing, especially from psychotherapists, as though it's a fact. And there are some differences in how we use the brain, obviously, but they don't really know. And of course that's not true. So the right hemisphere is typically longer, wider, heavier, and larger than the left. This one is actually true. It's actually true. And it's true for all social mammals, because we use that side to really connect with others. Okay, it's easy to see what happens on each side of the brain using fMRI technology. False. So it's not easy to see, like, just this part lights up and this means that. And so there's still lots of debate about it, and you know, the challenge is like taking what they see and making it useful. Yes?
What does fMRI stand for?
I think it's functional MRI. I don't remember what MRI stands for.
Magnetic resonance imaging.
Thank you, magnetic resonance imaging. So I think a normal MRI just shows kind of basic physical structural abnormalities, and this functional one shows like which areas are working more. That's my not very scientific explanation. So it's not that easy to see. It's very, very complicated. And so the research that they do on this comes from stroke victims, where one side, unfortunately, has become impaired from a stroke, as well as healthy volunteers who allow them to disable one side temporarily with some sort of injection, and then it goes back to normal. So really the only way they can get this information is by seeing what happens when one side of the brain isn't available anymore. Okay, artists primarily think with the right hemisphere of the brain, whereas mathematicians think with the left hemisphere of the brain. Yeah. So impairment on either side results in profound dysfunction. We need to use both sides of our brain all the time. And because of that, I think it's impossible to say like, oh, this is a right-brained person, because we're always using both sides at the same time. Okay, the left hemisphere dominates narrowly focused tasks. True. And one of the interesting things that they've observed is that baby chicks, I'm gonna have to get the right left in here, use their right eye, which is connected to the left brain, to hunt and peck for food on the ground. So to discern, what's dirt, what's a food. They actually use one eye to do that, and then they use the right brain, left eye to connect with the other chickens and kind of stay vigilant in their environment and to keep kind of a more broad and open focus. Okay, both sides of the brain are in constant communication all the time. Yes. And neurodivergent individuals may display atypical patterns of brain lateralization. Yes, so autistic brains tend to be more symmetrical, and dyslexic readers show greater reliance on right brain areas for language learning. But it's really not a surprise that everybody uses their brain differently, and really we're more alike than we are different in terms of the physical structure of the brain, but functionally how we exist in the world, it's very different and interesting that they can kind of study this and see it. Okay, the roles of each hemisphere are reversed in people who are left-handed. Yes, so we still, typically learn language on our left side of or store kind of words and language on the left side of our brain, even if we're left-handed. Okay, while processing music, professional musicians use the left side of the brain more than non-musicians. Yeah, it's true. Because once we learn a musical pattern, so in the early stages of learning, it's kind of this new novel thing that really requires a lot of work from the right brain to put everything together, to kind of have a more broad, open focus and take in all the information. But once it's a learned pattern, it's a little bit more like language or words. And one of the stories about this is there was a man who, due to a stroke, was unable to use language, but was still able, maintained the musical capacities and was able to name musical instruments, which is interesting because I think we relate to musical instruments more like they're people than objects. Okay, the right brain dominates broad, global, flexible attention. True, yes, it's true. So next thing that we're going to do is this movement activity to just kind of, and then I guess I sort of talked about this before, but the neuroscientists give us findings from their experiments, these kind of more concrete ideas of how the brain works, but they don't really tell us that much about what that means for our daily life. So that's where we kind of maybe connect that to our personal experience and just make assumptions and kind of develop maybe our own way of understanding this information that's personal and experiential and not necessarily scientific. And that's what we're going to do now. So what I would like, and I realize this is a big ask, is for a few volunteers to come up and play for us a short excerpt of music. All right, great. I'm so glad we have volunteers. Yeah, 2 people is perfect. So, or were there 3? Okay, come up. Yeah. And then I'm going to ask you again at the end to play. There's already one there. Would you like to start? Or should I start? Sorry. Are we saying we can just do it? No, one at a time. And it's short.
Oh boy, sight reading in front of a bunch of people.
Yeah, you're really brave.
Do you want me to just play?
Yes. To it before the movement activity, and then we're going to listen to it afterwards to see how our perception has changed and how your experience as a performer has changed based off of what we're going to do. So that's okay. So actually 2 very different performances is really great and exciting.
Okay.
Random. I would mix it up. Mix it up. And then I need all parts of the room are alive. Begin to notice. I like that everybody's reading arm, you're going to paint the shape of a phrase. And you can use your, so you're not just painting on a canvas. You can use front and back space, side, whatever you want, up and down spatially. And do this as you continue to walk to the beat. Are they about 2 measures, 2.5 measures, or are they longer, like 4 measures? In terms of the duration of the phrase.
I started with 2. Sorry, I'm just monopolizing this entire thing.
No, that's fine. Tell us. So Josie started with 2.
Yeah, that just is all hands over. And then I maybe moved to 4 in the second part, but I don't know why.
Okay.
Same thing. Okay. I did the same thing. Shorter phrases at first, and then the longer phrases on the second part.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think that I actually switched as I was playing.
Yeah, I flipped it. I
You might have
started
been
long and then went short.
Oh, you did the opposite. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we have this phrase structure where there's kind of two shorter phrases that make up a long phrase. So, now what I'd like you to do is everybody do the shorter phrases on your right side. So with your right arm.
Oh shoot, were we supposed to use the left arm?
No, whatever arm you want, but now I'm being more specific because of what we're going to do in a second. So make the shorter phrases with your right arm.
Are we supposed to do the left arm? Or not?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing with your left arm. Only short phrases with your right arm. Okay.
Great.
Okay. Now long phrases with your left arm.
Yeah.
At the same time.
No, just long phrases with
I heard it this time I used.
And try to make them like one continuous line all the way through.
Right.
So, how fast do you have to move? How far do you move spatially? So how do you use your space to create one continuous movement through that whole longer phrase? face each other. Yeah, face each other. And so decide who's going to do what.
Can you repeat that? What are we doing?
Yeah, so you can stand in one spot now. And you can face your partner. One person is going to draw the long phrase, and the other person's going to draw the short phrase. They're just going to watch each other. You don't have to walk. No, it gets complicated if you're facing a partner and walking. That really increases the risk of people running into each other. There was another question. What was the other question?
Do we use the same?
Oh, use the same hand. Yeah. So short phrases on your right arm, long phrases on your left arm. Yeah. So your arms will, yes. But just the same as you did before. Yeah. Nice job. Okay. So now the real fun begins. You get to do both at the same time. And you can just stand in one spot. You don't have to face a partner anymore because it's been a bit confusing. So you're doing short phrases on the right side, long phrases, is that right? Yeah, long phrases on the left side at the same time. And if you can, I think it's easier to try to really keep a continuous movement, and then sometimes it's nice maybe just to change direction to show that the phrase changed. You know, that's my advice, but otherwise you're on your own. Just you know walking yet. Right. Does anyone have any questions? I see some puzzled faces.
Say what we're doing again.
Okay, so you're going to draw the short phrases on your right side and the long phrases on your left side at the same time. You don't need to look at your partner. We're done with partners. Leave that alone. We're not going to walk. So just only exactly what I'm saying. Short phrases on the right side, long phrases on the left side, simultaneously. So, however you did it is the right way to do it. There's no right or wrong way to do this. So, maybe also just notice if this made you anxious, if it made you stressed out. Because, you're not being asked to perform and there's not a right or wrong result. So I hope that that's clear.
What if it does make you anxious?
Well, then maybe just do one part instead. Make it easier for yourself.
Okay.
Yeah, if it feels like too much, you can totally modify it. Especially as we keep going, if you need to do something different to make yourself comfortable, then by all means, do that. So, all right. I don't know. Did you guys notice that this song also has one more larger arc that occurs, right? There's one big climactic moment. So now we need to figure out a way to show that with our body. So last time I did this, I gave people two choices. One is to use the vertical space, like just bending over like this. The other is to use your whole body, squatting from the ground, going up. Starting down like this. And slowly moving up. did this yesterday and my legs are sore. So I also did a test of this last year for some friends and asked them to do that, and they got really mad at me because I can't ask people to do like a slow squat. So you decide what you like to do. If you want to just use hands kind of from the floor up, or use your whole body moving from the ground up.
So are we starting the arms?
We're starting low.
And are we doing the arms too?
No.
Oh,
No, just the overall arc of the whole exit. All right.
I'm not going to do a squat in front of the camera.
I know, I just realized I was in front of the camera.
Moving over for that last. Sorry, I stand right camera.
So
There we go.
Nice. So do you go at the same rate up as you go down? No, you have to come down a little bit faster.
It's a bad idea to work out yesterday.
This is going to get super silly, but let's figure out a way to do this while also stepping. Alright.
Okay, back walking.
Nice job.
Had to do a quick step at the end.
Okay. Now you can stand in one spot, and we're going to do the overall arc of the piece combined with the long phrases. So going up and down, and then drawing the long phrases on your left side. Does that all make sense? Everyone catch that?
No.
Well, you can also just copy what you see other people do. We're gonna So ticka, 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 ticka. You could sing them actually if you all know the melody by now. And over and over again, so you could sing tick.
Wait, are we doing all that plus singing?
Yeah.
Wow.
And you want to, you know, it's nothing's a requirement. You can do what you need to do to feel good, but that's it. So then we have 2 beat divisions. Actually, I think most of you were stepping longer, slower steps now. Like maybe even 1 step per measure or 2 beats. I don't know what. Who knows?
2 beats.
Every 2 beats. Yeah. So we started out with quarter notes, but it makes sense with the arm movements that we're going to slow down the steps. So, you know, we have some longer beat division, whatever we choose to do, and then we have the 8th notes now, too. And then, you know, you're showing all these like multi-layers of phrasing. It's really cool. It's fun to watch you. More fun to watch than. I'm just kidding. Okay. So adding Nice. So fun. Okay. Good job. Let's have our volunteers come back to play this for us again. And in a second, I'm going to ask you both, you know, how was your experience of playing this different? So after you play it, I'll ask that.
Well, the first time around was just survival mode, right? Notes at the right time. But it was really cool to hear the different phrases. The second time around, I definitely paid more attention to the arc of the piece. very super cool experience actually.
So the first time around, I was like, whoops, I forgot to check the key signature. And by the time I got to the end, I'm like, oh, D minor, okay, great. But I'm also a visual learner, so as I was going through the score the first time around, I was also watching the structure of the phrases. So then as we danced and did all these movements, it became much more, I became more cognizant of all the layers. So the second time around, I was trying to do the voicing and trying to show multiple layers that are in the piece as well as play the tune.
Yeah.
So I just I'm passing around a copy of the score so that everybody could see that. I'm sorry, I would have done that before. So just to see what you've been practicing. And we could do it again, but I don't think we need to do it again. You could take the score home and do it on your own if you want. This is called, it's A Tale by Xaver Charvenka. And it's in one of the RCM books. I think it's in the Celebration Series, book 4, but I don't know if it's in the current edition, it was in the one before. So, it's also online, it's in the public domain, so.
Can you spell the last name?
It's Charvenka, Scharwenka. And there is a QR code on the handout that will take you to basically what we did today in a blog post form that has some references and just maybe more information or what we're going to talk about all written out. So, and there's a short, I think that I put a recording of this piece so that you could practice this again if you want, or if you want to point someone else towards this information. It's kind of interesting. So we're going to talk a little bit more, but at this point I just want to ask if anyone has any questions, comments, or experience of, if you want to share some of your experience of what we just, actually I wanted to ask if as the audience listening to them perform, you had a different connection and what that felt like to listen.
I felt it more impactful.
I mean, I don't know.
Wow. I felt it more like I wanted to feel it in my body more than I did the first time. Like I didn't want to stay still. Yeah.
So more embodied. Okay. Anyone else have something to share? Oh, here. Okay.
Tell me if it's my imagination, but I thought we were all breathing together.
I noticed that I was breathing with the phrasing at the end too, and yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
Thank you. So I thought that you both played it really well at the start, because like being in front of a group of music teachers, I can't think of anything more terrifying. And I thought that the second time it was much more at ease and much more calm and but how much of it is because we were moving, and how much of it is because we heard you played it very beautifully, like 10 times in a row?
Well, certainly it's probably both, right? And I do think just listening gives you some of the same experience, but I've done quite a bit of Dalcroze Eurythmics. This is a very Dalcroze inspired activity, and I feel like moving to it is so much more. Putting it in the body gives you more than just listening. But that's just my own personal experience, and yeah.
Do you do this with your students?
Yes, I do this with my students.
And do they rebel, or
No, and this is, so yeah, I think you guys some of you are reading the back, you can go ahead and look over the information if you want. I do these off-the-bench activities basically from the first time I work with a student, and I actually mostly teach adults now, and surprisingly, they love it. And I don't know, I also have worked with students who don't want to do it because it feels weird to them, but I wonder, because to me it's just a normal thing, and I use it in my teaching so much, I think maybe they just see that it's normal in a safe environment, and it's a good way to kind of flip the script, because you're just kind of doing something silly. It's very playful, and it takes away that element of needing to do the thing right, while at the same time kind of training the underlying musical patterns that you need. So, yeah, I don't know. I did the week-long Dalcroze workshop that Julia Schnebley-Black taught for a really long time. And when I signed up for that workshop, I thought, I'm gonna get some really great skills for teaching. And what I found out was it completely changed how I played. And sometimes we think about these things, you know, for children, but like what you saw today, it gets harder and harder and harder forever and ever. And I think that Dalcroze, you know, he was seeing, you know, these advanced musicians that could play all the notes and had some technical skill, but they weren't expressive. And so he created this system actually with them in mind, not necessarily to teach, you know, 5 or 6 year olds. And so, you know, I'm not certified to teach Dalcroze, but you don't have to be to just draw from it and use it in your studio. And there are a lot of resources online that are free. There's virtual workshops that they have, I think, once a month now. So there's lots of ways to learn about it. And so if it's something you're interested in, you know, I don't think that there's a better way to learn about it than by just doing it yourself. Yes?
Can you spell Dalcroze?
Yeah, Dalcroze. Yeah, okay. So, how am I doing on time?
You have 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Okay,
15.
great. So, as I'm talking, yes?
I've got another question. I'm just noticing, I'm finding it interesting that the whole thing finally completely made sense to me once I saw the music.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you're intentionally having us not see it, I assume.
I'm saving the seeing it for later, so that we put it in the body first, and then we look at the score. And when I taught this before, and we could do this now, as you've seen it, to get up and move again. So now you have this kind of embodied experience plus the visual reference, which I'm like a very visually oriented person, so for me too, to see the score, really, that's what makes things click. But, you know, playing music is multi-sensory. We use all of the senses, and it's physical, and there's no way around that. And so I think you want to just do all of it as much as you can. And it's, you know, there was this, when I did the certification, I had to answer a question about like what was the learning style of the student, and with the assumption that you should cater to their learning style. But they've also found out that that doesn't really make sense, because there's things that are solidly oral learning. Like if you're going to learn a language, you know, that's the modality of learning, and it doesn't matter if it's your preference or not. That's how you need to do it. And for music, I think it's all of it. If there's a spot that's a weak spot, it's worth it to push for that more, but in a safe way. Okay, questions, so many questions.
I don't want to waste your...
No, it's fine.
So like the thing I was thinking of is like when you do it in a free way, like a no wrong answer way, I could see a lot of students kind of, to the earlier point, like kind of learning music auditorily first, you know, just of like, I know what this sounds like, so I can imagine with a beginner student, it would allow them to kind of bypass the hurdle of having to read the rhythm. But I also found it was interesting that it kind of related to like my experiences in college where we had to do this, but like conducting. So like I was experimenting with like conducting in 2 and in 4 at the same time, and like subdividing. So with this method, since you said it was for advanced musicians, is the way that you bring students that are auditory learners and you're doing this exercise with through something like conducting, where then they have to actually be accountable for like where the exact beat is and how it's subdividing? Like what's the, I guess, way that you bring oral learners into note reading using this? Or is that a whole different methodology?
I think the way that I teach is I'm just like, well, what do they need today? And so we'll just work on sight reading if that's what needs to happen. You know, I think there's a big debate about when to introduce sight reading, and I don't have a strong opinion, but I know a lot of people who are pushing for, you know, that they need to be able to reproduce all the musical things vocally, do all the rhythms before they're shown the written way, because that's more like how we learn language. I don't know if that answers you. I do all the different things.
Yeah, I guess
when I'm teaching, and I don't necessarily, like, I don't always start in this way, especially like with adult students. They can't come in and have their repertoire learned, but I might use it to clarify some musical thing that they're not familiar with or that they're missing, or just to get them looser, freer, and kind of more in their body as they play.
Yeah, I guess I know Del Cross had like a specific like escalation thing. For
yeah, I like the movement part of the method, and I don't pay that much attention to the rest, but there's a big emphasis on solfege.
Okay.
And then they introduce the notes. So, they're singing everything first, and then on the whiteboard they start to draw patterns and improvise with the patterns. And my friend who teaches this and starts all her students with a group class, when they sit down at the piano, they can already read at the level that they're playing at, because they've done all that in this year of group learning. They break them up into kind of different skills. The solfege, the movement, and then improvisation is a big part of it too. And kind of first you're improvising with your body, but also with solfege. So yeah, so on the back, I guess I probably should go over this. I made a list of indications, and this is kind of my own interpretation of the science that we sort of talked about, of signs that a person could be looking through more of a left brain lens. Actually, I'm going to go on to the next part. So just to sum up what we know about left versus right brain. So left is kind of the what, it's the fixed knowledge, kind of words, symbols, and more of a narrow, focused, localized view. The left brain is really activated by a need for certainty. So fear and anxiety states can, make someone, and I mean, I think what's interesting about a lot of this is it's really relatable in terms of our experience. So learned musical patterns, right side of the body. And so an example of a left brain kind of lens of looking at something would be knowing that the word retard means gradually slow down, versus the right brain way of seeing that is the ability to actually sense the change in space between the notes as you perform the ritardando. Because the right brain is the how, it's embodied knowledge and relational understanding. This is the kind of knowledge that is personal and experiential, and the right brain is really activated by novelty, by things that are unfamiliar, which I think, that's kind of what we did today in this exercise, is to do something weird that we've never done before. The right brain deals with the flow of time, with new musical experiences, with both sides of the body. And so my list at the top is things that we might see when a person is again kind of looking through their left brain a little bit more. And really it's like a list of things that happen when a person is experiencing an anxiety state. I realize I could have actually made the presentation about that instead. And so difficulty finding flow, difficulty playing combined rhythms or new rhythms, difficulty playing hands together, because you really have to have a more broad focus to be an awareness of both sides of the body at the same time. Tip of the tongue phenomenon, which I think is a big thing with memorization, where it's like, I forgot, oh no, and it's really hard to recover, because the more you narrow focus on the thing that you forgot, the more you lose sight of the context. Right brain really deals with contextual information. Difficulty with memorization, an obsession of getting it right, because again, that narrows the focus and narrows the way that we're using our attention and awareness. Lacking in expressivity and emotion, because those things require a connection more with the whole body and with ourself and internal perspective. Over-reliance on visual references, holding and grasping positions. You know, there's technical habits that people develop in order to feel safer and more certain when they're playing, and then it becomes a cycle because as they try to be more certain, then the music doesn't work as well, it's harder to play, and then they try to be more certain again. And this is how I think a lot of tension enters a person's playing, is from that kind of thing. So restricted movement, repertoire grows worse with practice. So you practice more and more, and it gets worse because it's really, you know, your focus is, a hypothetical, a person's focus is becoming more narrow as they try to get it right, as they obsess over that, rather than more global, more connected to the body, and then high levels of anxiety. So there's a little picture of the idea of global versus local focus. This H with the X's and noticing what you see first. And then there's a picture of the excerpt that we did, written out 2 different ways. And then at the bottom, there's a list of things that we can do to help shift back to more of a right brain orientation, which is really things that we did today. And when I gave this at State, a woman came up to me afterwards and was really upset because her daughter had all of these signs at the top, and she wanted to know what to do about it. And I mean, it's not that easy because I think there's a lot of reasons that a student could develop these tendencies that actually aren't related to their playing at all, like if they're going through a really stressful time in their life. So, you know, I think the best thing that we can do is to lower the pressure and find ways to bring in more context, to bring their attention to more different sensory elements. So, you know, more movement, or, you know, using also metaphor, just to kind of shift the attention away from just, you know, did I play the right notes? I don't think that that's what we do in general, but I think students can get in their head that that's what it's about, right? So any way to kind of change that. I think novelty is a really useful tool, so have them do something new and weird, if they're comfortable doing that, and yeah, then just keeping pressure low. So, okay, does anyone else, I don't know what time it is, I should have worn a watch. I have 5 minutes, perfect. Does anyone have questions, comments? Thanks, Katie. Yeah.
That was super awesome, thank you so much. Can you?
Can you give an example of how you use movement in day 1? Like a beginner lesson?
I mean, I might do something really simple, like I'm just improvising a song and they're just walking around to see how do they keep a beat. And maybe this is a little more advanced and you would have to use a recording to do it with them, but you can do little games like tug of war. You know, like when do you feel like the music is pulling and when do you feel like it's pushing or releasing? And I mean, like I said, with adult students, it's not as linear as that. You know, it's like what's missing, what do they need? Yeah, lots of rhythm stuff. But again, not in a performance-oriented way where it's like you need to show me that you can execute this rhythm. Just in a kind of we're messing around. There's a game that is take 5, stand, stop. That's fun also, and then you change the tempo as you go, and they have to respond to the difference in tempo. And some of these things are nice tools for evaluating, you know, how they react to the different challenges of playing music. And so I don't know. I just have hopefully that's helpful. Okay, cool. Okay. Oh, sorry.
You work with really advanced students. What kinds of movement exercises do you do?
I do things like what we just did, and kind of increasing the challenge. I mean, it depends a little bit on their background too. Like I have a student that's a dancer, so we'll really get detailed about like how would you express the music, but not just through how would you dance to it, but drawing on her movement background. I do the push and pull thing a lot because they can just do that from sitting on the bench, and I feel like it really helps them kind of get into the harmonic tendencies of when is tension building, when is it releasing, and then rhythm, to clarify rhythm.
What do you use for that push and pull? Are your hands touching?
Just imaginary, just miming.
Oh.
Sometimes like I'll say, imagine you're pushing a piano, like, and that usually it usually works fine. It's fun to do things with props too, and there's like endless ideas of things, and I kind of have a few things that I do, but I like to do the Dalcro stuff because you always walk away with it with more and more ideas. Yeah, I don't know. Good questions. Yes.
So this is awesome. So I grew up with learning through the Suzuki method, so I actually believed for a really long time that I couldn't sight read. And then I got a job as a ballet pianist and a opera pianist, and I got really, really good at sight reading just because all of a sudden I had to do it every day. I was starting to get paid for it. So it's fascinating kind of seeing or going through your presentation, and I can't wait to like kind of dive more into the context on the back here. But there's tons of examples of Delcro's classes and exercises that we can incorporate on YouTube. There's like real shorts online. So those specific questions on like what can I do with beginner students or advanced students, there's so many examples of like that.
Yeah, I was just gonna add that I spoke with a Delcro's instructor who said that they were working on making a list of ideas for different levels that for all teachers, not just for someone who's been trained to teach Delcro's, and I should follow up and ask him if that has become a thing. I think they were going to make it available for free or like very affordable, I don't remember, but if it's there, I want to see it, so. Okay. Anything else?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sandra. Have a good day.
Thanks, you too.
I set it on the music stand.